Republican Senator Roger Wicker from Mississippi now. Senator Wicker, thanks for joining us this morning. You just heard Secretary Buttigieg right there. What do you see the prospects of bipartisan cooperation this year? It looks like it's pretty much off the table for this COVID relief package.
Well, I look forward to working with Secretary Buttigieg on a transportation infrastructure bill, and I would a whole lot rather be working with him this week on that sort of thing, maybe on a plan like his Republican governor in Indiana was able to get done on a bipartisan basis to pay for a major infrastructure piece of legislation rather than going into really a meaningless messaging partisan exercise like impeachment. But look, I'm ready to work with Secretary Buttigieg. He called me the day he was nominated, and I think we both want to work on roads and bridges and passenger rail and Amtrak, and getting that done and paid for in a way that we've done in a bipartisan manner in states like Indiana and Tennessee and Alabama.
You mentioned impeachment. I want to get to that, but one more question on the COVID relief bill. You said back in December more stimulus would be needed if the job situation didn't improve. It hasn't improved at all. More than 200,000 jobs lost in December, only 49,000 gained in February. Isn't action still necessary?
Well, I think Republicans are willing to spend between $600 and $700 billion more. You know, on 5 occasions in 2020, Republicans in the Senate, Democrats in the House came together with the administration and passed 5 COVID relief packages. They were all done not only on a bipartisan basis, but with near unanimous support in both the House and Senate. Only this year, after the president began his administration with a very hopeful speech about bipartisanship and unity, only this year have we somehow gotten to a point where this new president is saying $1.9 billion, no ifs, ands, or buts. And a group of 10 Republicans come to talk to him. The first chance he's had to meet with congressional leaders in his administration, and really more the White House staff than the president absolutely rejected any of their proposals.
But Senator, doesn't that work?
The relief
doesn't that work both ways? Under President Trump, Democrats supported these big proposals. Why won't Republicans support them for President Biden?
Well, I think you have to look at what the situation is, and I'm glad you mentioned Larry Summers. He was Treasury Secretary under Clinton. He was Council of Economic Advisors under Obama, and he cautions this week and speaks, I think, for a lot of Democrats. This package is way too big based on the fact that we don't even know how much of the $900 billion from December has already even been obligated, much less spent. And he says this is going to be inflationary, so we need to be careful. Also, you've got the Congressional Budget Office, which came out a week ago, and this is a bipartisan, nonpartisan group, not the organ of the Republican Party. And basically, CBO says by the end of the year, the unemployment rate is going to be below 5%. Purchasing power of American families is going to be way up. And so the economic projections from this bipartisan group argue against something the size of a $1.9 trillion package that also anticipates a big tax hike.
On impeachment, you just called it meaningless, and I know you believe it's wrong to try a former president. But President Trump was in office when he advanced these false claims to try and overturn the election. He was in office on January 6th when, as the House manager's brief argues, he, quote, summoned a mob to Washington, exhorted them into a frenzy, and aimed them like a loaded cannon down Pennsylvania Avenue. Should the president be held accountable for those actions?
Well, the question is twofold. Number one, is it constitutional? Does the Constitution anticipate a Senate trial of a president who has left office? And I think the overwhelming weight of history and also of precedent indicates that this is not proper. Richard Nixon was about to be impeached by the House of Representatives during his second term. He resigned from office and impeachment evaporated. I think that's what most people have viewed about impeachment over the course of the decades and the centuries.
Well, as
but
you
also,
know, there
I
has
would
been
just argue
impeachment.
this, George.
Go ahead.
Constitutional lawyers can make an argument on either side. I went to law school and I practiced for a while. That's what lawyers do. But let me also make this other point. And I called on the president-elect, Joe Biden, I called on him to ask that impeachment not occur. And I'll tell you, if President-elect Joe Biden had asked Democrats in the House to forego this route, they would have done so. And I can't think of a more unifying act that he could have done. And I think
but I was asking
would
you,
have,
sir,
would have rewarded him, and folks like you would have said it was a wonderful unifying gesture.
I was asking you about the president's actions, President Trump's actions. Do you think he should be held accountable for his actions on January 6th and his false claims leading up to January 6th?
Well, the question is, should he be convicted in an impeachment trial? And the answer is no, based on the fact that the Constitution does not anticipate the impeachment trial of a former president. You know, the Constitution says the Chief Justice presides over the Senate trial of a president. The fact that the Chief Justice will not preside next week over this Senate trial speaks volumes about.
I understand that argument, sir. I understand that argument, but I'm asking you about the president's actions, what you think about the president's actions. Do you condone the president's actions? His legal brief says that at all times Donald J. Trump fully and faithfully executed his duties as president of the United States. Do you agree with that?
The charge, George, in the impeachment, in the one article impeachment, is that he singularly incited a riot to invade the Capitol, and I do not think that will be proved in the trial, no.
Do you think the president should be held accountable for his actions on January 6th?
If being held accountable means being impeached by the House and being convicted by the Senate, the answer to that is no. Now, if there are other ways in the court of public opinion, or if some criminal charge dawns on some prosecutor, perhaps there's another avenue there. But
are you open
my role
to censure?
is to see if the Constitution provides for the impeachment and trial of a former president. And my answer to that is no. And frankly,
should he be censured?
45 of us voted to dismiss the charge. Censure was offered by the minority leader in the House of Representatives. He offered that. It was rejected, and in my view, that ship has sailed.
Finally, sir, you voted to impeach President Clinton when you were a House member, and when you did so, you cited John Adams and his hope that none but honest and wise men inhabit the White House, and then you went on to say this.
Mr. Speaker, it is with great regret that I conclude the current occupant of the White House has utterly failed to live up to this standard. I cast my vote for impeachment to protect the long-term national interest of the United States, to affirm the importance of truth and honesty, and to uphold the rule of law in our nation.
As you know, the president was impeached for lying about an affair. Why is lying about an affair more impeachable than inciting an insurrection?
Well, I'm not conceding that President Trump incited a insurrection. Let me say this. Republicans learned a lot from the impeachment of President Clinton. President Clinton had been adjudged to have committed perjury by a judge in the state of Arkansas. Perjury is a felony under the law of every state. And that was the controlling principle that brought me to a yes vote on voting to impeach President Clinton. The fact that a member of the judiciary had determined that he lied under oath, thus committing perjury.
He wasn't convicted of any crime. But Senator, thanks very much for your time this morning.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.